Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest installment of The Stalking Dead, our video taking a look at the most recent episode of AMC's hit television show, The Walking Dead. As I always like to start these things, I'll tell you, spoilers lie ahead. Now, in the most recent episode of The Walking Dead, titled Them, we focused on Rick's group as they made the arduous task of getting to Washington, D.C. No car, no food, no water. They're walking the 60-mile journey. And as last week's episode focused on certain characters, specifically Tyrese, Rick, Michonne, and Noah, this week's episode focused on the other characters, specifically Daryl, Sasha, Gabriel, and Maggie. Now, as we look at each of those characters, Daryl is really suffering and mourning the loss of Beth, who died at the end of the first half of season 5. He's struggling, but he is coming around. As Carol told him, he has to let himself feel it, and Daryl did just that. Also, we have Sasha, who's upset, obviously, that her brother Tyrese was killed in a recent episode. She's pushing her aggression out, and Michonne's trying to lead her in a different direction. Then we have Maggie, who's also mourning the loss of her sister Beth, and Glenn's trying to coach her. Then we have Gabriel, who's struggling with his commitment to God as a preacher in the zombie apocalypse. But the biggest thing that happened in this episode came at the end as we were introduced to a new character. His name is Aaron. Now, Robert Kirkman, the man behind the Walking Dead comic book, teased the introduction of an openly gay character. Fans of the comic book know that Aaron is that gay character, and he plays a recruiter from the Alexandria safe zone. All this is coming together as the road to Washington, D.C. will eventually lead the group to the Alexandria safe zone. Now, those of you wondering, is Aaron a good guy, a bad guy? Well, in the comic book, he is a good guy who earns the trust of Rick, Abraham, and the others, but I don't know how the TV show is going to play that. But looking ahead to the Alexandria safe zone, don't expect the group to get there right away. The show has some time to kill before they get there, and I expect that the group will encounter some bad people on the way. Those options are the Whisperers. I've talked about them in some of my blogs. The Whisperers are a group that is hinted at by Morgan, who we still don't know where he is on the show, as a group who covers themselves in masks of the walkers to disguise themselves and then attack other groups. Of course, a lot of people are talking about the comic book's main villain, Negan, but I don't think we'll see him this season. But once the group does get to the Alexandria safe zone, Negan will come into play. There's also hints of a group called the Wolves, because some of the walkers have W's on their foreheads, but of course that could also be the Whisperers. The key thing to focus on now is Aaron and other characters that will come into play on the way to the Alexandria safe zone. It looks like season 5 is heating up as we approach one of the main storylines in the comic book. That's it for now. Leave your comments and questions in our comments section, and I'll get to them next week for The Stalking Dead. Until then, enjoy the season, which is looking really, really good at this point.